Should be now. Give it a second.
Too much to handle. Too much to handle.
Right. Yeah. Right. It's another week and another race here in League of Ireland for Tier 3. Today we are going to be racing in Miami for round 2 of Season 9. Today, as always, my name is Josh Nater 6000 and here alongside me is Cav. How are we today?
Good, Josh. Really looking forward to this. We obviously had our first outing on a new game last week, and now we have a new track to look forward to. So,
yeah,
hopefully
that's for
it's
sure. And today we have Kachiga for a quick pre-race interview, and Cav, you can take it away with him.
Yeah, of course. So we only got one guest in this week because I think this man, as we all well know, will talk for at least 2, if not 3 guests worth. Kachiga, how are we?
How are you getting on, boys? How are you getting on?
Good. So, Kachiga, talk to me obviously about round 1 last week. You obviously had a interesting race. I think it was a race of high and lows for a lot of people, but probably not the start you were looking for to the championship.
No, sure. Like I had the qualifying ban. I completely forgot about the qualifying ban until the lads said it. Put it down in the Discord there because obviously I had 3 penalty points in tier 3, and then I had a penalty points. Which funny guy, I can't remember if it was tier 1 or tier 2 race, one of them anyway, so that added up to 4, like, so obviously got a qualifying man there for the first race, like, but I felt like I was pretty strong around Spain for a qualifying lap, so I felt like I could have been up there, but I had to start from the very back, which wasn't an ideal position for me, like, because I was doing an awful lot of practice for the race. I was flying through the field. I felt before the rain came.
Yeah,
and
we
I
saw
knew
that.
anyway. Like I didn't even know there was rain. I didn't look. I didn't look. Like I didn't change my setup. Like so, whatever setup I had was just for the dry.
To
Like
dry.
my setup was dog. I just couldn't get the power down really anywhere and turning the car. Like it was
It was tough going.
yeah, tough.
And a man of your experience making the mistake not checking the weather. Well, look, stranger things have happened. Tell me, you are obviously a previous Tier 4 champion. What's your target then for this season coming into Tier 3?
I don't really know. I haven't set any goals at the moment. Like, well, the only goal is really is to do better than I did last season because last season was very poor for me. Like,
Yeah.
with no points or getting crashed out or crashing out myself. Like just mistake after mistake. Like I think I only scored 4 or 5 races last season. Like
Yeah. And then obviously a 9-race season, that can really hurt you.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
And how do you feel for yourself then on the new game? I mean, do you think your pace has improved? Do you think you're pretty much where you were? How are you finding the handling and everything?
I don't know if my pace has improved. I think the game is just pulling towards me.
Yeah.
I think like, and then obviously others are trying to get used to it and all. Like, so I think it's my time to capitalize on it. Like
And use your
this season, like
experience.
yeah, and like if you asked me that a couple of seasons ago, like I was just like crazy, like going for stupid moves and all. Like, but like when I won the Tier 4 championship, like that was probably the first time I start thinking about
The bigger picture.
the bigger picture. Like like it's a marathon. Like
Yeah.
it's not a sprint. So like I would always back out of the challenges, and I just kept it like that now since, and it's helped me an awful lot. Like to gain points.
100%. No, and look, last question before we let you go and get the lads ready to go racing. How do you feel you're set around Miami tonight? Obviously, it's a new track to us all, and I know a lot of lads have been grinding it. Have you done much work yourself?
I've done a few time trials. I feel like because it's the first time Miami is on the calendar, I don't think a lot of people will be up to speed with it. Like
Yeah.
as the likes of I like having the normal tracks like
Yeah.
Netherlands, Spain, uh, Austria, Australia and all them, like, you know, like everyone's so familiar with them, like in every season, like, but Miami's completely brand new, like, so
Yeah.
some lads might have done a couple of practice runs or whatever, like, but they haven't done many practice runs with the boys, which it's just a different breed altogether.
Yeah, exactly.
The boys there, like, you know, so
100%.
I'm not expecting anyone to maybe to run away with it, like.
Yeah, I think it'd be a tight race. No, 100%, and who knows what the conditions and everything else will do. Like last week, if there's rain in Spain, there can be rain in Miami, so we'll wait and see. Kachiga, thanks for coming in and talking to us. I know you need to go and get the lads readied up, so we'll let you do that, and best of luck tonight, obviously.
Thanks, boys. Good luck.
Well,
Right.
that's Kachiga.
That is former champion of Tier 4, Kachiga. Let's see what he can do tonight. Definitely be an interesting track, interesting race on this track, especially with the walls being so tight. There'll be a few safety cars, I'd say. But
Yeah,
we'll get qualifying going very, very soon.
absolutely. No, I think it was interesting what he said. I mean, about the change in his driving style. I think we've seen that with a few drivers that have come in, you know, 1 or 2 seasons ago and realised, particularly with the 12 race seasons, you have to look at the longer picture and,
Fair, that's for
you
sure.
know, you're better to bring it home and third, fifth, sixth, whatever the position is, than risking it all. And it may come off here and there the 1 or 2 times, but more often than not, you're going to end up losing all those points you've worked hard to secure. So interesting
sure.
hearing this change in philosophy.
Yeah, that's it. Like it's not all about the. It's all about the pace, as we always say here. It's all about the consistency. It's all about bringing home the points. You know, a lot of 6th places, a lot of 5th places build up over time, and you'd be surprised. But yeah, we'll see tonight anyway what Kachiga can do and what the lads can do. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see who we have on the podium.
Yeah, and what works, I suppose, interestingly this week as well is the podium we had last weekend was a mix of Tier 4 drivers primarily. 1st, 3rd and 4th were Tier 4 if I remember correctly. So a lot of the lads haven't lost out a big amount if they didn't score heavy on day one. Shane obviously coming in 2nd last week. He leads the championship technically from the lads who are on the Tier 3 grid, but there's still 11 races to go.
Yeah, I think especially now with a few of the faster drivers moving up and a few moving down, the grid is oh so close together, and we'll have everybody very matched on pace for sure. And yeah, so it is looking like a sunny day in Miami. Do we have a weather update there, Kev?
We do indeed. So qualifying is dry from what I can see for the next 15-20 minutes anyways, and obviously that'll get us through the session, and then the race itself is looking dry as well. Slightly overcast, but in the main it's going to stay dry from what I can see.
That's good to hear. Right, and we do have our expert here, Gary Drobro, of course. What do you think today, Gary? Being in Miami, a new track, who do you think will come out on top?
Good morning, Crafty. Good morning, Crafty. You know, it's hard to call. Like, new track, who knows? I've got to go with one of the Tier 2 OGs. You know, I think, you know, Real Johnny, he's in with a good shout. But you know, you've got a crowd favourite there, Kachiga. It could go anyway. I don't think Tier 3 is going to be carnage, as in Tier 3 is going to be carnage, but I don't think the track lends itself to clean racing. You know, tight track, tight walls. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I think whoever can keep it out of the wall and keep it out of somebody else's rear wing is going to finish in the points here, I think.
Yeah, that's for certain. Thank you very much, Gary. Yeah, I feel it's going to be very close. There's going to be a lot of cars into the wall, and I think it's just a matter of keeping it out of the walls, and that can bring you up onto the podium. Obviously, you need the pace to go to get onto the podium, but you need to keep it consistent. You need to keep it out of the walls, and yeah, just need to keep it clean altogether. And we do have Roswald going to be starting a lap. So, Cav, why don't you take us away with Roswald here?
100%. So straight on to the main straight and DRS open. One of 3 DRS zones around here. You want to hang the car out wide in 8th gear, bring it down to usually 2nd or 3rd. You want to mount as many of these curbs as you can, and obviously, like your Suzuka S's or like your USA Sector 1, You get one wrong, it compromises you the whole way through. Dropping down through the gears now, and you're letting the engine do a huge amount of the braking as you come into a really important exit here, and you want to get the power down, usually in third gear, as early as possible. Let the car run wide because you have a long full throttle section here now, bringing you all the way through sector 2. So you flash through 9 and 10, which really aren't turns at all. You're going to throw the car right and wide here, and you're going to get the car usually down into second gear in a heavy braking zone, usually going from 330 down into second gear, as Roswald has done. You have a double apex here, you want to clip the two of them if you can. Coming up the hill now, really important braking zone. You want to get the car straight over these curbs as much as you can through 14 and 15. 16 is so important. Roswald's going all the way down to first, but this is one of the longest straights obviously on the calendar. You're getting up to, again, 330 plus kilometers an hour here, and you want to go all the way down until you get past usually the 100-meter braking board, and you're going to throw the car in, usually again in second gear for rotation. He runs into a little bit of traffic on the right hand side, which isn't ideal. Bring the car left, flat out now on the right hand side, take as much as a curb as you can as well, and that is a lap of Miami.
Yeah, it's a 128.8 for Roswald, and Roswald, who is going into the runoff there, it seems.
Yeah.
Getting out of the way, but King Papa then getting a very good 4/10 ahead of Roswald there. So looking very strong today is King Papa, as we have A Whelan getting a 29.4, not ideal for him, but I'm sure there's a mistake in there somewhere.
Absolutely. Interesting to see now how A Whelan and the Fonz, who both didn't race last week, do. Two lads who I personally think are going to go very well in this tier this year.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, we do have a lot of people on laps. I think that's a Ferrari, a twin Gene coming across the line. Yeah, you got a 28.7. So the times seem to be close at the moment, and I think that's a Red Bull of D Flynn. Going to be crossing the line. What can he get himself? Gets onto the DRS, cross the line. He gets a 129.1. So puts himself up into P4. Still early days, so it's just bankers for the lab to get a delta on the screen, something to go off of. We have a few more crossing the line. I think that was DKF1 29.2, Real Johnny with a 28.4, and then Sanko with a 28.6. So still very close. We have Rian also crossing the line, and Rian going up into P6 with a 28.9. So it seems pretty close at the moment.
Yeah, field is very congested, lads looking competitive. Good lap from Johnny, who obviously finished 5th last week, so he'll be happy with that so far.
And we have the Fonz now crossing the line. It's not a competitive time, probably just a warm-up lap. He's just going again, I think it seems. No, I don't think he is. Doesn't have the ERS on.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't know if you forgot to switch that on, but that'll hurt you around here for sure with the long straights that you have.
Yeah, that wouldn't be ideal at all. See, it already looks very close up at the top, with King Papa and Real Johnny only being a few hundredths of a second off of each other. We do have O'Connor now. O'Connor and a McLaren into sector 3 goes. And let's see what he can do. Be interesting now to see some of maybe the new guys getting up into the top. Some of the lads who came up from tier 4. And, especially with Sanko here. Sanko with a 28.6, looking fairly competitive.
Yeah, that's great for Sanko.
Here we have the McLaren of O'Connor. Coming into the last corner is O'Connor, and he'll get onto the DRS here, and crossing the line, what can he get? Only a 30.3 for O'Connor, so he'll definitely have a lot of room for improvement there on that lap.
It's an interesting one, the way we have the new Miami track, because you think of the lads who are new to the game, new to the league. Obviously everyone started from pretty much the same starting point with Miami, so it's a really good chance for those lads to get a good result in.
Yeah, that's for sure. And we have the Fonz. Fonz is going around again, but he once again doesn't have his ERS on. It doesn't seem like he does anyway. Maybe I have a glitch on my screen, but
possibly. If anyone is engineering for the Fonz, please do tell him to use that ERS.
He's not on full throttle either, so a few technical difficulties for the Fonz, it seems. But Sure, look, we'll leave him to it. We do have the man himself, Kachiga. So I saw someone in the comment section there, in the chat, saying that Kachiga is their favourite for a podium. And
so
we'll see if that is true, as we have Kachiga going to start a lap now. Not a lot of people out on track. Kachiga being one of them. Here we go, starting his lap. And we'll ride on board with Kachiga going through turn 1. Seems to keep it clean enough onto the throttle nice and early. Just trying to get on the throttle fully as early as possible there. You don't want to get on too early, you can end up in the wall on the right hand side. Get on those curbs just a little bit on the left, on the right. And then this is a very difficult part, a very difficult corner there. I always struggle myself. Kachiga seems to get through it nicely. Onto a nice bendy straight here. Onto the DRS as well for Kachiga. We might see a lot of overtakes through this section of the track. As Kachiga goes through into a heavy braking zone, into a left-hander. And now a very tricky part of the track here, a very slow one, as Real Johnny does get a 5-place grid penalty, which is unfortunate for him. And the slowest part of the track through here, nice chicane. Kachiga takes it very nicely. And onto the back straight he goes.
Tidy lap from so far.
Yeah, it's looking quite decent so far.
So Rando setting a 29.9 while we're watching Kachiga there. Really good lap for him as well. Our race winner from last week.
Yeah, so he'll have some pressure on his shoulders as Kachiga coming across the line. Only a 30 flat for Kachiga, so I'll definitely be looking at the timing sheet, seeing where you can gain a bit more time. We'll now move on to someone else, A Whelan. A Whelan, someone who was very quick. We've seen last season A Whelan is, if you're watching on Tier 3, very, very fast driver, especially around Austria. A Whelan definitely has the pace to be on the podium, has the pace to be in the top 10, of course. Let's see what he can do today. The last couple corners he goes. Adam Whelan gets onto the DRS and crossing the line. Don't think he improved. I think that might have been a warm-up lap, maybe.
Yeah, looks like it. And maybe I had a mistake.
Maybe. Oh, and he has a mistake once again. Into the wall, losing his wing. And not ideal for A Whelan.
That's going to compromise his quality because P12 is not where you would expect Adam to be.
No, that's for sure. Yeah, you'd want to see Adam up in the, at least in the top 6. He has the pace for it. We all know that.
Absolutely. He's lost Jinx, so I'll just get him an invite into the.
Yeah, oh, and we have Twin Gene getting provisional pole there with a 28.4. We weren't watching on board with him, but that's a very impressive lap. Getting ahead of King Papa and Johnny. And D Flynn with a 28.5. So a decent little lap from him. So we've a lot of cars on laps at the moment. So we'll try and keep count of all of them.
Have about 7 minutes left, so lads will be either finishing their second runs or going back in to get ready for their last.
Yeah, the last lap is the all-important lap. It's when the track is at its best, and it's when you have a delta on the screen, something to work towards, something to beat, and it's all or nothing then. Try and get pole position as we have the AlphaTauri Rienzi, I should say. Going across the last couple corners. Oh, and he's lost the car into the wall. Also loses a front wing. Just narrowly missing his teammate there, Glenn Mack, who's just crossing the line for 29.0. So very, Glenn Mack also having a little wobble as well. So it looks like a very slippery track here today, especially even on the soft tyres. So I wouldn't like to see them on the medium or the hards.
And while we're watching that, DKF1 did a 28.6, so really good lap for him. Bo Aston's in good shape. Obviously Johnny, as we know, is carrying that 5-place grid pen from Contact.
Yeah. Fair.
Good luck from the boat.
Yeah, that's really going to hurt Johnny. If you want to get the best quality possible, he will be dropped 5 places. So
Yeah.
the way he's looking now, he'll be dropped down to 8th position.
And King Papa does a 28.1. Wow.
Very good
That
lap
is
from King Papa.
Jump. 3/10 improvement, so track is starting to ramp up.
It is indeed, yeah. 28.1. 3/10 ahead of Twin Gene, who was on provisional pole there. Just being overtaken by King Papa, looking very, very strong here today.
Yeah, doing really well. So 5 minutes to go. I see some drivers starting out laps, so they'll be getting ready to go on their final runs.
Yeah, we'll have a lot of times flowing in towards the last couple minutes. So the track once again is at its best temperature, and we do have Sanko going through sector 2 now, which is King Papa's teammate, seeing if he can maybe beat him onto pole. See a little battle maybe between the two Williams. Always good to see battles between teammates. Makes it
Wants to
even more
stay as
heat.
friendly. The Fonz on another lap.
Oh, and I think his teammates actually blocked them there. Sanko trying to get past King Papa through slowest part of the track in sector 3, and King Papa actually blocked him slightly there. And not a happy
Yeah,
Sanko.
Sanko's aborted that lap now, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm sure it wasn't on purpose by King Papa, but that's not great from the two teammates especially. And we'll see now if Sanko's going to go for a lap or if he's going to go into the pits. He is going to go
going
for
again.
another lap. We have a few drivers. We do have Johnny out on a lap as well, going into sector 3.
Yeah, and he's 2/10 in his pocket, so looking quite good at the moment to get up there and around King Papa's time.
Very difficult part of the track where Johnny is going in through. Very difficult to get the throttle down. It's very easy to spin, but he takes it very nicely, and he is 5/10 nearly up in his time. Looking like a superb lap from Johnny. Could be provisional pole here for him.
Sandbags are off for Johnny now that he's gotten a 5-place grip pen.
Indeed. He
Takes
wants
that
to.
really well.
Yeah, he does. Let's see what Johnny can get. Can he overtake King Papa for provisional pole? Johnny crossing the line, and he can by 0.2 of a second. Very impressive lap from real Johnny. At 27.9, first driver into the 27th. Very impressive by him.
Serious target. Really well done.
Yeah, as we see Sanko now still struggling after being blocked by his teammate.
Yeah, and he's invalidated, so
Yeah,
and he will not get back around either, which is a shame. So that's Sanko's qualifying over. He'll be really frustrated.
yeah. And having a look up in the sky, it's looking quite gloomy.
Yeah,
So,
with Roswald in sector 2 here, just coming into sector 3. He's a McLaren in front of him.
I don't know whose car that is. I think it's
That's O'Connor.
It's O'Connor, and he's
Yep.
blocking him. He hasn't a clue he's behind him. This is
No.
very frustrating for Roswald here. Gets out of his way just a little bit too late. Very unfortunate for Roswald. That's the second blockage we've seen.
Absolutely.
Today.
If this game had it, you'd get a Fernando Alonso finger wag going down that straight from
Yeah.
Roswald. He will not be impressed at all.
No, he won't. Especially
Takes the
someone who has.
last hairpin really well.
Yeah, he does. And Roswald is going to improve, but not enough to bring him up any positions.
No, and that clearly compromised him, which is a shame.
Yeah, there was a few tenths knocked off there. You could have moved up a fair few positions. Not a happy Roswald, as it seems.
What else have we got? We've a lot of cars on track, all improving.
Yeah, we do. We do have Twin Gene. He has crossed the line, hasn't improved by very much, only 1500ths of a second. So that's going to keep him in P3 for now.
Gunnar just starting his lap. Adam Whelan is on a warm-up lap, it would seem.
And I'm just having a look at D. Flynn here, and now... No, okay, I thought as much. I saw he was 0.6 up on his time in Sector 1. But he's pretty much level with his time, so a little glitch on my part.
King Papa starts another lap as well, so we have a lot of drivers still only starting their final runs now.
Ooh,
Kay
and
Flemo's retired.
as well as Kachiga. I think Kachiga might have been in the pits, but Kay Flemo was out on
Correct.
track.
Kay Flemo was on track, and Glenn Mack has spun in sector 1, so he isn't going to improve.
Mm-hmm.
He's
So
just
now
letting
Oh,
cars
D.
pass.
Flynn,
Well
is that also on track? D. Flynn is retired. So a lot of retirements very late on in the session.
done. Yeah, 2 Red Bulls in less than 30 seconds. Christian Horner's head is in his hands.
Yes. Now we have King Papa, who has been very quick all night tonight in qualifying. Could he
And
be
Adam
on
Whelan has
for...
had a spin, Josh, sorry, just in sector 2 there. So that's
Yeah.
his quali over as well.
Could now King Papa be on for pole position? By the looks of things, he already is. With the 5-place grid penalty for Real Johnny, as we have Rian getting a 28.3. Well, King Papa on the back straight with the DRS open. Seeing if he can knock a few tenths off of his time here. It's a very difficult braking zone. He gets it very nicely onto the throttle in second gear, up into third. On full 100% throttle pressure, here he goes, crossing the line. And he goes pole position for King Papa, a 27.9, narrowly beaten Real Johnny. A superb lap by King Papa.
Clutch, eh?
Very, very impressive.
Yeah, that's a really good lap. I have to say, I didn't think we'd eke into the 27s tonight. That
No.
puts even more concern into me for my own Tier 2 race on Wednesday, but however, that's another day's problems and worries. Well done to him and Johnny. They are 2 tremendous laps. Nearly good 3/10, nearly 4/10 clear of the bulk of the field there.
Yeah, the rest of the lads seem very, very close together, but the 2 lads ahead, being King Papa and Real Johnny, very close together. Now it'll be interesting to see King Papa starting, not King Papa, Real Johnny starting in 7th position. So
Yeah.
be interesting to see now how fast he cuts through the pack and if he can catch King Papa, because if his pace translates into the race here tonight, we'll definitely be seeing him gapping the field quite quickly.
100%.
So if he's here, I think we'll go on to our expert, Gary Droe. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think that's pretty convincing from King Papa. If I was me and if I liked money, I'd be voting. I'd be backing King Papa, I think. What is interesting is Johnny's time. So he's got half a second of a gap between where he should be and where he will be in P7. So yeah, I think if he can clear a couple of cars on the first few laps, I think there's easily a podium in it for Johnny. But my money's on King Papa all day.
Very good, thank you, Gary. Yeah, very interesting qualifying. I think I'll have the grid here. So it's King Papa on pole position. Real Johnny did qualify second, but he has a 5-place grid penalty, so he'll be starting in 7th. Then we have Rian. We have twin Jean after him, Rando, then D. Flynn. We have Shane then after D. Flynn. We have Sanko in P8, P9 for DKF1, Roswell then in P10 after being blocked. We have Glenn Mack in P11, P12 for A. Whelan, O'Connor in P13, and then Blue Gunner, who we haven't talked about all night, in P14, and then the rest. I don't have the rest of it. Oh, wait, do I? I do. We have Jinx then, Kay Flemo, Kachiga in P17, and then DeFons rounds us off at the back of the grid. So, do get your predictions in. What do you think yourself, Cav? Who do you think will come out on top here?
I think we're looking at an interesting race. I think, as we've already touched on, damage and keeping it clean is going to be so important here, and how many spins and how many issues did we see during qualies. So I think this is going to be more of a lottery than usual. I think you're going to see safety car time play a big part, but I'm going to go for, because he came into the box and talked to us so eloquently, I'm going to go for a Kachiga win. I'm going to go for Blue Gunner to get up on that podium, and I'm going to go for Glenn Mack as well.
Okay, very interesting.
What do you think yourself, Josh?
I do think we'll see Rando up there. I think I'll go for him for a P3. I think King Papa, I think he'll get P2, and then we'll see. We'll see Sanko taking the win.
Oh wow. Bold calls from the comms box. One thing for sure is that we're going to be entertained, and as we have our 30-second countdown, we'll see now who has decided to do what. Free tyre choice for everyone, obviously, on the grid, which is really interesting. And makes quality very interesting as well, because we had nobody, I don't think, use the mediums or the hards, not even the famous blue gunner. Yeah,
of course.
So that relationship is on the edge.
Yeah, unfortunately. But here we go. We'll see the tyre choices any second now. Be interesting to see if some of the fellas at the back are going to go on the hards. But if my menu wants to work, there we go.
And what I will tell you, Josh, is now that I can see the full 60 minutes of the race, so the first 15 minutes, as I said, looking overcast, but by 30 minutes in, there is a 74% chance of rain. So
very, very interesting.
Could get spicy, and that might explain a couple of lads having, qualifying sessions maybe not as quick as we expected. Maybe people have gone for a slightly mixed setup.
Yeah, very, very interesting there. I think, the rain will definitely play an interesting part, especially with the track already being very slippy in the dry. As well as what last week definitely threw a spanner into the works for a lot of drivers, and it helped a lot of drivers, as we've seen last week. But something I do want to mention is tyre choices. We have Rian on the hards in second place, so I do know the rain is forecasted to come out after 30 minutes, but I don't think he'll be able to keep up with King Papa on those hard compound tyres. We do have Shane in 6th place on the hards. We have Sanko, Roswald and Glenn Mack on the hards as well, and we have a mixture between the hards and the softs from 13th down to 18th, and then the rest of the lads on the medium. So it's a mixed tyre choice. It's not all mediums today. Very interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Blue Gunner would be disappointed. I think when it was all mediums last week, he was living in a land he loved very much so. But the really interesting thing about the forecast, and again, bear in mind folks, it is only an approximate forecast, is that 45 to 60 minutes in, it is to be dry again. So if it goes as predicted, we're going to end up with a dry to wet to dry here, which could be very interesting. And we know there's some drivers last week who were very impressive in the wet.
Yeah, Rando being the standout driver, very good in the rain. He is in 4th place, so when the rain comes out, I think that's when we'll see Rando shine. And we'll see. I'm sure a lot of other drivers are very happy in the rain, but I think the vast majority of them will want the clouds to stay away for the majority of the race. But here we go. Drivers lining up onto the grid. King Papa in his grid slot on pole position. And I think we have Rando who missed it slightly, and DKF1. A few drivers missing the mark slightly. Something people need to get used to. It is very easily done indeed. There we go. Last driver is on the grid. The anticipation is over for this race. We have 4 sets of lights. The lights are blank, the cars are moving, we are a go in Miami. King Papa getting a very good start. Actually, no, it's not Twin Gene up into 1st place already, and we have a car sideways.
Contact.
There's a lot of contact of Alfa Romeo into the wall in the back. A lot of carnage in the back there, and I think Mercedes has a bit of wing damage as well. Reen C is up into 2nd place. Once again, Johnny up into 3rd place, once again gaining a lot of positions. DKF1 and D Flynn have retired, and it is a virtual safety car.
Yeah. Wow, turn 1 was chaotic, and it just all got out of shape for a few drivers from there. I think what happened was Rando, I think, got in a little hot and collided with Twin Gene on the exit.
Yeah, and it is a full safety car now, as it seems. The little yellow dot around the around the track. But yeah, that was quite a chaotic start. I think I saw Jinx going very hot into the wall, going straight on through turn 1. A lot a lot of carnage. Rando being one, going sideways, taking Twin Gene with him. So yeah, very, very chaotic start there.
Yeah, not the ideal start for a few drivers, but a few lads have gained positions, which is good. We have Blue Gunner up 7, which is a massive game for him, and obviously the big losers been Twin Gene and Rando, who had that turn 1 contact.
Yeah, once again, as we've seen last week, Real Johnny gaining 4 positions up into P3 after a qualifying that he'll want to forget. Qualifying went well, but with that 5-place grid penalty, it hasn't seemed to hurt him too much. With the safety car out now, everybody bunched back up. This is great for Real Johnny. So I think if he's around, I think we'll go to our expert here, Gary. Gary, what do we think about that start?
Well, we got our carnage, that's for sure.
Yeah, we have enough for a week.
Couple of interesting notes. Blue Gunner up to P6 on the soft tyre, so he's made massive progress. As has Glenn Mack on the hards. So, like the Blue Gunner and Kate Flemo, their tyre choices are definitely paying dividend. They've moved up plenty of positions. King Papa, yeah, he's managed to hold his position in P1 there, so I think he's got a really good setup for the rest of the race. And obviously Johnny's found himself back up into the podium positions, which we expected to see. So yeah, unfortunate for Jinx D. Flynn and DKF1. It was just very, very messy at the start, but we should expect it to settle down over the next couple of laps.
Thank you very much, Gary. Yeah, definitely quite a chaotic start there, Cav.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do have a lot of people gaining positions. It is interesting now with Blue Gunner being so high up with off that start with 2 hard runners ahead of him, so he'll be making some ground. But how long will those soft tyres last?
Well, this is it, and for the drivers who have tried to go the long distance into if we get wet weather, this safety car now will play right into their hands on the hard tyres, because they may now be able to stretch to not having to pit before we get to wet weather.
Yeah, and I think just while Gary was talking there, Jinx did retire in the pits.
He did.
Bit of an interesting move there with the safety car out. Cars all bunched up. You can come from last to first very easily on a track like this, but sure, look, that's the driver's decision. We have a 15 left after lap 1, so we definitely do, by the looks of things, have a very interesting race once we get underway.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think staying out there now and just keeping at it is Call of Duty. Anything is going to happen over these 29 laps, and particularly with mixed conditions been expected. I mean, I would certainly be staying out, and we've seen how many drivers are struggling to keep it pointing the right way. So yeah, maybe a bit premature, but each their own.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, off the start, I just wish I had a replay. King Papa did not have a great start. He was nearly spinning off the start, but just a lot of carnage to his right hand side. Managed to keep clean, managed to keep away from it, and he's back up into the lead now. And of course, Rian didn't have a great start. Starting on those hard tyres, it's already hard enough to start in the mediums, but being on the hards off the start, it's very difficult. Yeah, but he's managed to keep his P2. He's in a good position at the moment. If he manages to keep with King Papa until DRS is activated and keep Real Johnny behind him, he could be in for a great shout for a podium or even a win today.
Yeah, and touching on what you said there, I mean, the tyre compounds are going to be very important now off this restart. It's probably one of the tracks where it is slightly easier to get temperature into the more harder tyres, but even still, Blue Gunner, you know, you're looking at Kay Flemo in 9th, and even Shane in 15th. They'll be looking to make very quick progress in the first 2 or 3 laps with those temperatures coming to them that little bit easier. And we have a little bit of horseplay in Sector 3. Rian, I think, might have had a slight bit of a sideways moment and almost fell out of position, but he's back in P2.
I wonder now, will the safety car go in? Wouldn't be surprised if it does. All the cars have caught up, and the safety car is in this lap, so we'll be back underway into lap 4 of this Grand Prix. So King Papa warm up the tyres as much as he can. Most importantly, Rian will want to be warming up his tyres on those hards, so he'll be wanting to weave as much as he can. and the lads will be waiting for the safety car to fully go into the pit lane, so there's no limiters on their cars at all. Here we have King Papa. Has he gone already? Has he gone early? He has. King Papa is underway. We are back racing. Is that a lot of contact in the back? I think we have a AlphaTauri. Is that... It's Rian going into the pits there.
Going to the pits, yeah.
And a big gap now between Real Johnny and Sanko. Everybody got fairly poor starts there. So yeah, Rian into the pits. Very unexpected. I don't know why he's gone in there. But
oh, and Blue Gunner loses it on the softs. He has lost the position to Twin Gene, but he keeps it going. But he got sideways through turn 3, and that cost him the position.
Yeah, you have to be very careful on a track like this with a lot of long corners, especially in this game. The long corners are the ones that can mess you up a lot.
Yeah,
and that's where you want to be most careful. I think we have some action at the back here with, I believe, Shane very close to the back of Defons. He's actually ahead of Defons now. Defons doesn't want to fight that anymore.
And Whelan is attacking Kachiga as well, Josh.
He is.
Send it, is he? He's not. He's going to think better of it for now, but he is looking much quicker than Kachiga on those, obviously, quicker tyres.
Yeah, yes, a tyre advantage. Does A Whelan going through a very tricky part of the track. It's very important he gets good exits out of these corners. A Whelan, if he wants to get ahead of Kachiga before the DRS, and Kachiga got a very good exit out of there. I'm very impressed by him. Yeah. Especially on the hard tyres. Kachiga ahead of him. Roswald very close to the back of Blue Gunner now. Blue Gunner doesn't seem as fast as he'd want to be on those softs, as Real Johnny getting the fastest lap. So Johnny closing up that gap up to 1 second now.
Is all over the back of Glenn Mack here. He had to get off the throttle coming out of the last chicane that he was going to take him on. But he is again on that medium tyre, looking very quick, very fast after one lap.
Yeah, he is. Twin Gene pushing Glenn Mack through this track. Glenn Mack, of course, trying to hold on as much as he can with those hard tyres. It's very difficult to keep someone on faster tyres behind you when they're pushing you through like that. Very easy to make a mistake. But Glenn Mack seems to be rapid now. But he does have Blue Gunner, does Twin Gene behind him with the softs, but they'll only last him a few more laps.
Yeah, you can see the hard runners now are starting to get those tyres switched on, and as you said, Glenn Mack, a little bit more breathing room now than he had half a lap ago. And
here we have A Whelan and Kachiga once again very close. I think there was a little bit of movement in positions for a split second, but Kachiga's back in front of A Whelan, and there's a train formed behind Kachiga.
Yeah.
From Kachiga down to Rando. If A Whelan doesn't go for a move, Shane will go for a move on A Whelan. Shane very close to the back of him. Could Shane get the both of them here? Gone past A Whelan, and can he go past Kachiga as well? It looks like it, round the outside. And he gets the moves done. 2 positions through 1 corner, but I think he locks up a little bit there. Does Shane, but Kachiga a little bit
lost
squirrely
the rear
now.
There on exit, and Adam Whelan has him as well, so 2 for the price of 1.
And 2 McLarens now, a little battle. O'Connor going past Kachiga, and maybe up the inside of A Whelan quite late, and we do have a retirement, which is Rian, and that is on track, and it is a full safety car
again, yeah.
So has this played into the hands of the soft runners, who may pit for potentially hards to go until the rain? And yeah, I think he just lost it off the exit of the corner just after the back straight. So a very easy one to lose it. And he's showed us it just there. 14 drivers left now, and they're all going to be bunched up. I think Sanko will be very happy, and Kachiga, who has lost out a lot of positions, 3 positions there, so he won't be very happy. He's not able to fight now for a few laps.
And we should just keep you updated. Now we are 15 minutes out from a 74% chance of rain, so if it comes, even the medium runners now may be able to extend themselves long enough that they don't have to box in the meantime. And there's a little bit of trouble in Sector 3 here between the McLarens.
Yeah, there is.
I think Kachiga has ended up back ahead of O'Connor. I think O'Connor might have left the track. So, a little bit of a switch around there.
Yeah. Maybe team orders, you never know. But will anybody go into the pits here? Especially looking at Blue Gunner. Blue Gunner is into the pits.
Yeah,
for presumably what would be hards. He might even hop onto the mediums possibly. Let's see. And he is going onto the mediums.
Hey!
Those trademark tyres of Blue Gunners. He is into the pits, out of the pits now. On the medium compound tyre, of course he is. So Shane opting to stay out on the softs. Questionable decision by Shane there. But we'll see how it works out for him during the race.
He's obviously thinking the rain will come a little bit quicker than the forecast is telling us, but it's a long way to take those soft tyres around here.
It is indeed, but to be fair to him, we've only had a few laps of actual racing.
Very true.
Maybe 2 or 3, so a lot of those laps were under the safety car out of the 7 we've had. So the soft tyres will be able to be preserved for that little bit longer, along with the medium runners as well. So the hard runners mightn't get as much of an advantage as they would like. Opting to start on the slower tyre, but to go until the rain. But it looks like the medium runners might get that benefit as well.
Yeah, just in regards to Jinx, it looks like he had a bit of a technology issue. He had all of his assists back on him by the game, and that basically meant he could not brake. So braking is quite an important part in this game. Even in Tier 5, where sometimes the brake pedal doesn't see much action, it is very important in this game. So yeah, unlucky for Jinx.
Yeah, yeah, especially being on a track like this where just keeping it clean can see you onto the podium. It's very unfortunate to retire on a track like this.
Absolutely. So that explains why you're seeing him testing the Armco barriers on the outside of turn 1.
Yeah, that does explain it. Just give them a little test, and Rando's joined back in now.
Yeah, Rando seems to be having tech issues.
Yeah, it does.
And we're going around again, so this again will play into the hands of the lads trying to eke out those tyres. And as you've said, we haven't done a lot of racing laps anyways.
Yeah, 2 safety cars in the space of 8 laps. You'd only see that in the likes of Azerbaijan or one of those tracks, and this seems to be one of those tracks where there's going to be a lot of safety cars, and I think this is not the last time we're going to see it, I wouldn't say. But hopefully now, with everybody being caught up, okay, Flemo, I think we'll see the safety car into the pits this lap, and we'll be back underway hopefully.
Yeah, so 10 minutes time, we have a 64% chance of rain, so getting ever closer. I wonder, have any of the lads committed to, we'll say, a higher downforce setup that'll give them better control in the wet weather? We will see.
Yeah, so even Kachiga said for last week he didn't tweak his setup for the rain. That's going to hurt a lot of people here today, especially if they haven't brought a wet setup. So a lot of people could have brought wet setups for the rain later on. But we'll see pace-wise, see if Johnny's practiced a little bit more in the rain. As we've seen last week, he was struggling just a little bit more than the lads. But that's if it rains now in the next few minutes, it's going to be 2 out of 2 races in Tier 3 where there's been rain. So very rainy tier, as here we have the safety car is going to be in this lap. So King Papa once again is going to be taking us away, taking us racing again. As we see now, just having a look, the 2 Williams cars in first and third. So whoever's a Williams driver is very happy looking at this stream. Looking like a very hefty bunch of points, but I think he's gone, King Papa already. Yep. I think he's caught them napping slightly. King Papa is underway. Johnny did not get a great restart, and I don't think anybody got a great restart compared to the cars ahead of them. Everybody nearly 7/10. But here's Shane though. Shane proved me wrong, going past the Haas of Roswell. They're going to go side by side, it seems, through turn 1. Roswell backing out of it slightly, and we have Shane up into P6, and that's someone round.
And King Papa. That's King Papa from the lead, Josh.
King Papa from the lead. Did he get a bit of damage? I think he might have. No, I think he just had a spin, as he has Rando side by side with him now. No, he doesn't. Yeah. King Papa is ahead of him. Very unfortunate for King Papa. That is going to be very painful for him.
Yeah, from what I can see, he's carrying no damage there, so if there's any reprieve, it's that for him.
Yeah, King Papa very disappointed in himself there, I'm sure. Just cold tyres off the restart must be. Onto the throttle just a little bit too early.
Yeah, so just approaching a third race distance. Long way to go yet. And it is starting to look that little bit dark now.
It is indeed. We'll see now, because as we've seen last week, the rain came down and looked fairly light, but the track got very wet very quickly.
Yeah.
So I think as soon as you see some rain droplets, you'd want to think about going into the pits, because especially on this game, I know last game it got wet very quickly, but it seems to be even worse this year.
Oh, and Shane has lost it, coming out of again the last hairpin, just getting on the power, but he manages to save it. I don't think he took any front wing damage, not from what I can see.
He just lost a lot of time. Yeah. But O'Connor very close to Rando, trying to slip it up the inside of turn 1. Rando places the car very nicely, and O'Connor's going to stay behind them. O'Connor being on the hard tyre, so Rando seems to be struggling just that little bit on the mediums. He has the Fonz very close behind him, does O'Connor. The Fonz raring to get by him on the faster tyres, or he's not on the faster tyres, he's on the same compound. Both of them on the hard, so the Fonzies are very quick. And King Papa, has he spun again? No, he's just being overtaken by Blue Gunner.
Yeah, he's struggling.
He is indeed. Blue Gunner being on the fresher tyres, but King Papa's going to burn his ERS just a little bit in the slipstream of Blue Gunner. He's going to pull to the inside of Blue Gunner, and he seems to be ahead of him going into the braking zone, and King Papa managed to keep that P12. But we do see A Whelan and the Haas having a little battle. A Whelan keeping that P6.
And Blue Gunner takes the position back off King Papa. So yeah, we can see King Papa after that spin, he was struggling with front tyre temperatures and struggling to generate the heat.
Here we have the Haas of Roswell once again coming back at A Whelan, as we have a change for the lead here. Sanko into the lead. Now they're having a little battle here. Johnny managed to stay ahead of Sanko, but for how much longer? DRS is enabled. Sanko through turn 1, will he go for a dive? No, he's going to stay behind him for now. Real Johnny once again in the lead, as he has been last week, so he has experience out in the lead, and he has a little bit of a gap formed now, as Sanko seemed to have a little bit of a mistake through turn 1. And Glenn Mack now. Glenn Mack up into P3, having a little battle with them side by side through the S's. Glenn Mack seems to be ahead of him going into the corner, but Sanko is trying to stay through the inside. Glenn Mack squeezes him and gets the move done. Glenn Mack up into second place, as we have A Whelan spun round.
It's a Ferrari.
And that is not good for A Whelan, but we have a bit of rain, and Sanko coming back at Glenn Mack. Glenn Mack going very slowly. This is Twin Gene and Sanko going past him.
He's gotten eaten up in the DRS zone, so you can see the difference it's making. And with this rain now, that'll be disabled shortly.
Yeah, the rain is indeed out, and it seems to be coming down heavy enough. So we'll see now if the lads are going to wait a couple laps, go in next lap maybe. This lap is definitely a bit too early. We might see 1 or 2 going in. Maybe A Whelan or K Flemo, someone at the back with nothing to lose.
Exactly.
Here we have the leaders now coming down past the pit lane. I don't think any of them will go into the pits just yet, but we'll see. Only time can tell, as we do have a Williams. The Williams going into the pits. Could this be a good strategy called Sanko and Glenn Mack going into the pits? So we'll see now if this works out for the two hard runners, as Johnny once again, Twin Gene and Shane, the top 3 now. Shane being on those softs, so the softs have worked out for him. So Sanko, the first intermediate runner, We'll see the gap between him and Kay Flemo ahead. The track seems to be quite wet here, Cav. I wonder if they made the right choice.
Yeah, it's hard to know. We definitely seen in Spain that the track got wet very, very quickly. I wonder if he's there, what Gary thinks of all this. Does he think it's the right call, or maybe have the lads gone a bit early? Gary, you with us?
I think it's a lap or two too early yet, Cav. Yeah, I think you want to be waiting until the DRS is disabled, really. Especially when, you know, the cars are so tightly packed, you're going to get the slipstreams.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's maybe a lap too early. So.
Oh, as we're talking there, there's a little bit of contact between the McLaren and the Alpine. The Alpine spun round, and a lot of contact between the Mercedes as well. Kachiga seems to be taking people out here, and the Mercedes, I think, has a bit of damage. So does Kachiga and the Alpine. So sorry for cutting over you there, but bit of action.
Yeah, serious action. And we have Defons around now as well.
Yeah, so I think now is the right time to go into the pits. I think the lads, Sanko, Glenn Mack and Roswell, have made the right decision, because the track is very, very wet at the moment. So let's see if they have
disabled sign. So that's, as Gary said, often a good indication of when you're meant to go in.
Sanko just going past Rando there, has been spun just recently. Rando,
Kachiga on his way into the pit lane has lost it again.
He has.
Wow.
Well, here we have Sanko, Real Johnny, very close to each other. Has he gotten out in front of him? Real Johnny has, but the tyres will be very cold. Will Sanko be able to catch up to him as he gets a little bit wobbly off the exit of turn 1? I think Johnny might have made the right call of going in a little bit later than Sanko. But Real Johnny, let's see if he has the pace in the wet as he does in the dry.
VSC out, Josh.
Oh, it's a VSC. I wonder who for. Maybe Kachiga in the pit lane, possibly. Or I don't know what's happened there.
Yeah, it could be for some damage, not 100% sure. But yeah, Sanko just a lap too early, it would seem. So, as our expert called it, and that's why he's the expert. Wait for that DRS disabled sign. Often a good chance you're going to get the timing right.
Yeah, for sure. As we were talking as well, Glenn Mack picked himself up a penalty. That's the first penalty of tonight, so that's definitely going to hurt him, especially if we're seeing the amount of safety cars we're seeing throughout the race. Yeah, not ideal to be getting penalties around a track like this.
No.
So I wonder now when the virtual safety car is going to be going in. So we have Real Johnny trying to match the delta as best as he can, and here we are back racing again.
Green flag again, yeah.
We have Shane very close to the back of the Haas here, Roswald. Shane and Roswald going side by side. Shane backs out and goes back for it again, and a little bit of wheel banging. Who'll get the better traction out of the exit? Roswald's cutting across him just a little bit, gives him enough room. Roswald managed to keep the position, but for how much longer? Shane in the slipstream down into turn 1. Will he go for a dive bomb from a bit far back? No, he won't. He'll stay in P5. Roswell just a little bit squirrely off the exit once again.
Yeah, good defence from Roswald. He squeezed him, but squeezed him fairly. Left him his car's width, and that's all you have to do. So, really good defence.
Yeah, very difficult it seems in the wet. As we've seen a few wobbles from Roswell, a few wobbles from other drivers. We'll see now Shane having a big mistake, losing nearly a second there to Roswell.
He had a big snap of oversteer, and the gap between Glenn Mack and Roswell is massive.
Flag. I don't think anybody's crashed. No, I think we're still good to go. But Rando has been overtaken once again by A-Wheel, and this is meant to be Rando's territory here in the rain. We'll see now if he's just made a little bit of a mistake, if he can gain some positions here. Rando very close to the back of A-Wheel, and can he go for a little dive through the inside of A-Wheel? No, he thinks better of it. Rando's going to stay behind him. He's going to be patient. He's going to wait for a good time.
Oh, and Adam Whelan getting out of shape again. And then Rando late on the brakes.
Yeah, it's all about
really finding these tough, aren't they?
Yeah, they are indeed. It's all about waiting for a mistake from the driver ahead. there's just no real room for overtaking as DRS is of course disabled in the rain. But here we go, proving me wrong. Rando going past A Whelan before the corner, used his ERS to his advantage and got ahead of him. A Whelan is trying to fight it back around the outside though. Is there enough room left for A Whelan? We'll see them coming across here. A Whelan is behind them. Rando looks like he got the move done. But for how much longer now out of the last corner, A Whelan seemed to have gotten a good exit through turn 1. A Whelan very close, pushing Rando through turn 1 and 2. Rando managed to keep it on the track. A Whelan nearly loses it. A Whelan does lose it into the wall, loses his wing, and he is the wrong way around. Tries to get the car spun round, but it's just very difficult. And the safety car is out.
Yeah.
So A Whelan has spun round. That is going to be him dropping down into last place with a wing change.
I thought I was watching myself watching A Whelan.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Absolutely. He's had a tough day at the office so far.
He has indeed.
I've just been on to Gunter Steiner at the Haas wall there, so he's electric. He's hopping up and down on that pit wall chair with Roswell before that.
While we have you here, Gary, who do you think is looking quickest out there in the rain?
Johnny at the moment, 100%. He's got a convincing lead there. He's just holding that gap at about 2 seconds. Thing is here, if the track goes dry again, they've got to make another decision as to when to go back on the dries. No doubt Johnny will make the right one, but we could see some earlier late calls which could switch it all up here again. So it will be interesting.
It will be indeed. Thank you very much, Gary. Cav, can we have a weather update for when it's going to be going dry?
Yeah, so at the moment they're talking about 15 minutes from now. It's a strong chance of it turning more overcast. The rain should have stopped at that stage. So given the lap time we have around here at the moment, the lads are doing laps in about the 1 minute 40s. We should see the conditions dry out very close towards the end. It'll obviously depend on the volume of safety cars and stuff we have between then and now, but yeah, we're looking at roughly about 15 minutes from now we should see us return to overcast conditions and then beaming sunlight in about 30, but I don't know if we'll get that far.
You never know with the amount of safety cars out now. I think this is the third, if I'm not mistaken, and one virtual.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just over halfway through the race. So if we're going at this rate, we'll have another 3. But it's good that it's bunching up the pack. We'll definitely be seeing a few moves off the start. Some people getting good exits, some people getting poor exits off the last corner, off the restart. But we'll definitely see Johnny playing some mind games here with Sanko, trying to get the best restart possible and trying to bridge a gap possibly between the two.
Yeah, some drivers were a good 40-50 seconds down, so for them it brings them right back into contention. From kind of Kachiga down, it certainly brings them right back into the fray.
Yeah, I think it's interesting now as well that in this, compared to this game and the last game, you never used to get safety cars for just debris on the track. There always used to be a retirement for a safety car to come out, but I think it's good. If there's enough debris on the track for
Sanko has gone,
he's retired.
And we have an issue. Yeah, he's had a serious issue. Straight on he went through the final hairpin.
Oh,
and that is a serious issue.
Over. Yeah, that's don't know if it was a network issue there, but it's very unfortunate for him. He's looking like he's having a great race.
He was doing really well, and I was just about to say Sanko and Rando seem to both have cars set up very quick in a straight line, which might have benefited Sanko on a restart, but he'll do well to restart now with 3 wheels.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, very just out of nowhere, Sanko under safety car. Very unusual.
Oh, and apparently Sanko's controller disconnected, so
okay.
That is what has happened to our second place driver. So that promotes Glenn Mack into P2 now, and well, Gunter's jumping even higher and louder now. There's a Haas on the podium.
Gunter's on the phone to Gene already.
He is.
We got this, Gene.
Absolutely.
So yeah. will real Johnny be able to have his redemption day? Last week he wasn't particularly great in the rain, but this week he seems to be flying in the rain. So maybe he had a little bit of practice in the rain just in case, and it seems to be paying out now. Let's see if he can bridge a gap from himself to Glenn Mack. We'll see if Glenn Mack is any good in the rain. He seems to be, being up in P2. Roswald as well seems to be a little bit of a dark horse. He's been hovering around the points this race, and he's keeping it clean. He's up into the podium position so far.
Yeah, and King Papa has recovered to P7, and he obviously was very quick early on, so he's not done yet either.
No, you can't count anybody out. And here we have the safety car going in this lap. Johnny is going to be restarting us, and he's slowing the pack down, trying to get those tyres warmed as much as he can. And by the looks of things, the rain stopped, or has it just gotten very light? The rain is very light, yeah.
And I think we're just at the point where it probably will stop in the next lap.
Yeah, and where will Johnny go? Safety car is just about into the pits now. Johnny will be getting ready to go any second now. Let's see on his telemetry. And there he goes. Johnny is gone. We are underway. Shane seems to be very close. Oh, we have a few cars. Glenn Mack lost the car. Shane nearly did. That's a retirement from Glenn Mack. That's also King Papa back into the wall and lost his front wing completely. What a mad restart that was.
Oh my god.
Yeah, oh my god indeed. King Papa gaining a few positions, but losing his wing in the process of it. And we have Blue Gunner going for a move on King Papa here. A nice view of it. King Papa of course doesn't have a wing to fight back, but Blue Gunner up into 5th place. And Shane now right behind Twin Gene. Shane seems to be very quick as well, Cav. He's very close to the back of Twin Gene.
Yeah, he's looking really pacey, and he has his marked teammate now behind him as the rear gunner, his Blue Gunner. So well set at the moment, and he's having a look up the inside of Twin G, and he's gone for it, Shane.
What a move by Shane there. Can we see a little bit of a switch back from the Ferrari? No, Shane, what a dive bomb that was.
Great.
And very, very quick is Shane here. Could we see a possible victory here from Shane? He is very, very quick at the moment.
Oh, and Twin G nearly loses it on the exit.
Yeah, yes indeed. So Blue Gunner now only 1.5 seconds behind Twin Gene to Mercedes, looking very quick. And King Papa, of course, trying to limp home to the pits to get a new wing. That's very unfortunate for King Papa. I don't think it's any fault of his own, which is the worst part about it. In he goes into the pits.
So far.
And O'Connor now, and oh no, that's King Papa going into the pits. Get a bit overexcited there.
But we do have Adam Whelan up the inside of Kachiga.
We do indeed. They're gonna stay side by side, but Kachiga seems to be getting a better exit here. He does, keeps the position. A Whelan not gonna give up anytime soon though. Does A Whelan have a bit of damage? I think maybe that left end plate. Yeah, he's missing his left end plate. And there we go, the Fonz, True and A Whelan, they're both going side by side. A Whelan trying to hang on to it, and he's been spun round by the Fonz. A Whelan with the wing damage is now the wrong way around on the track. What a day for A Whelan. This has been a nightmare for him.
Yeah, no VSC or safety car to save him this time, but
no,
that's going to leave him a long way behind now.
Let's have a look at Roswald and real Johnny here. Roswald seems to be very close to Johnny. Johnny trying to hold on to that lead as much as he can. Without the DRS, it's going to be very hard for Roswald to get past him though. But I think Kev, has the rain stopped here?
It has stopped indeed, and we're starting to dry out on this track, and no more rain forecast now. So as Gary said earlier, the switch over point is going to be key for the lads to identify. Yeah,
it is indeed. If we can go on to Gary here. Gary, when do you think you'd be going into the pits for tyres, and what compound would you be going on to?
It's looking close. I'd say another, maybe 2 to 3 laps. If the clouds break up, that track's going to dry up very, very quickly. I think the mediums would be a good shout here. If it takes a while to dry up, maybe the softs. I worry about them towards the end. I'd play it safe and go mediums.
Yeah, I think we'd all do that. Thank you very much, Gary. Yeah, I think that the safe call is the medium tyres. Of course, we'll see a few people taking the risk and going for the softs. But here we have the Fawns and Kachiga having a little bit of a battle here, and the Fawn seems to get the better of him. The Fawn's up into P8, and yeah, I think something to take into account now with the tyres. Who will have mediums lying around, because everybody started on, a lot of people have started on the mediums, and you do only get one set of mediums and one set of hards, so I think their hand will be forced to go on to the softs, which is unfortunate. I think you should get 2 sets of mediums, but the game's the game. And we do have Glenn Mack. Yeah, he's left the session now. He's retired earlier, but
Shane's picked up a 3-second penalty.
yeah, he has, and that is gonna hurt him.
It's massive.
That is
such a
indeed.
difference with the running order being so congested at the moment.
Yeah, and here we have Shane trying to go for a move in the Haas of Roswald, and it looks like he's got it done, but will Roswald fight it back? Yes, he will. They're going side by side, the Mercedes and the Haas. Who'll get the better traction out of the exit? Little squirrely there by Roswald, and great exit by Shane. Gets the move done, but Roswald does seem to have pretty good straight line speed, but not enough to get past the Mercedes. Shane's up into P2, but he does have a penalty. And Rando is into the pits. Will that be for dry tyres, I wonder?
Let's see. Is he going brave?
Let's see what Rando's going to go on to
He
here.
is. These are softs.
He's
So
going
here
on
we
to the
go.
soft compound tyre, so everybody will be looking out for him, seeing if he can gain a little bit of time and the intermediate runners ahead of him. But I think the track is a little bit too wet yet to be going on dries. But we'll see with Rando. Now we have the Fonz on another McLaren. Deja vu for the Fonz, and we have A. Whelan, who's retired in the pits, it seems. Yeah. So
He's had enough for today, so
yeah, that's
shame.
enough for him. Very unfortunate for A. Whelan, because he wasn't looking like he was the slowest on track.
no, we're only at 2 towards distance, just over, so there was still plenty could have happened between now and the end, but never.
Yep. Oh, and the McLaren of O'Connor going very slow through the chicane there. The Fonz in the Haas on the back of him. We see a move here. They're both using their ERS. They both have a very low ERS. DRS is now enabled, so now is the time to go in to the pits. But will the Haas or will the McLaren get into the pits first? They're going side by side once again. And it looks like the Haas has gotten the better of O'Connor. The Fonz is ahead, and the Fonz is going to stay out, despite DRS being being activated.
I'm
Yeah,
right
I'm
on
looking
board with Rando at the moment, and
That's exactly it, yeah.
yeah, they're he's dropped 3 seconds onto King Papa on the top tyre. I think it's still a bit early.
Oh, and very interesting tyre choice by Kay Flemo. He's gone on 6 lap old mediums.
Oh,
So
dear.
he's going to be struggling very much so. Now let's see these these intermediate runners. I think Real Johnny's losing a bit of time to the inter runners ahead of him, probably just because of cold tyres. I'm sure we'll see them warming up very soon. But I think, yeah, that lap was the best lap to go in. I think it's a lap too late now, and before it was a lap too early. You have to get it perfect, really. So Real Johnny still in the lead with a good gap between himself and Roswell. We do have a yellow flag. Who is that? That's a Red Bull. That is Kay Flemo going round in those mediums. Not a great tyre choice for track conditions like this, is it?
No, he seems to be struggling, and I think a lot of the dry tyre runners are at the moment. Sector times are still in the favour of the inter runners.
Yeah, it is. The mixture of the cold tyres and a wet track, just I think it's very, very hard for the soft runners so far. But Real Johnny now onto the back straight. Will Shane get out ahead of Real Johnny, or will Real Johnny get the undercut on him? Let's see who made the best choice. So we have Shane just going into the pits here for presumably what would be soft tyres. Yep, he is onto the softs as Shane. And here we have Real Johnny coming out of the hairpin onto the last corner, onto the main straight. who will be ahead here. It looks like it's going to be very close. Johnny or Shane, who will get out ahead? I think it looks like it's going to be Shane. Yeah, Shane is out ahead of Johnny, yeah, by 1.5 seconds, but those tyres will be very cold on Shane's car. So will Real Johnny be able to catch up to that 1 second range before the DRS zone and get an overtake possibly?
Yeah, Johnny just, I think, got caught out because Shane's lap time and Shane's sector times on the last lap are actually still quicker on those inters, so Shane seems to have time to switch over perfectly.
Yeah, but his tyres are still very cold, and Johnny has caught up to 0.2 of a second here. He has the DRS on him. He's not going to use his ERS, he's going to go for it. They're going to go side by side. Shane isn't going to give up easily. Johnny gets the move done. The Aston Martin is ahead of the Mercedes, and Kachiga is still out on a dry track on the Inters, so it's a very interesting decision. And there's been contact between the Aston and the Mercedes there. I think there's a bit of contact with the wall there with Johnny. I think he's being pushed by Shane. I don't know what happened there between the two lads. Let's see now if there's a bit of damage on Johnny's car. Not visible damage, but that has allowed Twin Gene to catch up to the leaders there. The Mercedes pulling alongside Real Johnny, and Shane seems to get the move done here, but Real Johnny will have the DRS going onto the main straight. Onto the pit straight goes the two drivers. Real Johnny does have the DRS. Yeah, Kachiga goes into the pits, going to lose a lot of positions, but Real Johnny, he's going to cede position. He's going to be down into second place. Shane keeping that lead on Johnny.
Yeah, in fairness to Kachiga, his last lap on those inters was actually very competitive as well, so strange crossover periods. Seem to be quite gentle, the timing you could choose. Yeah,
for sure. Now we have Twin Gene very close to the back of Real Johnny. Real Johnny seems to be struggling on those softs a good bit, as we have Real Twin Gene right behind him. Did Real Johnny get the DRS though? No, I don't think he did. I don't think he got the DRS on Shane.
Outside of it, and Twin Gene's coming close to Johnny now, so we're going to have a three-way battle here for the lead. Shane's penalty obviously is still going to play a part here as well.
Yeah, I think that's why Johnny isn't battling too much, but I think he wants to stay in that DRS range to keep a very fast Twin Gene behind him, as he is pushing him along now as Twin Gene to Real Johnny. Twin Gene will get the DRS. Johnny will not get the DRS, but is he close enough to make a move? They both have similar ERS, but let's see now. Twin Gene isn't going to use any of his ERS, and he doesn't get close enough to make a move. He will get the DRS once again on the pit straight, and he is very close now. He's gained a good few tenths out of that hairpin. Twin Gene on the back of Real Johnny. Can he get a move done through turn 1 or before turn 1? He does. Oh no, they're going side by side. Real Johnny tries to go for a little switchback, not enough room for it. Twin Gene takes second place off of Johnny.
Yeah, he parked it on the apex beautifully there in the exit turn 1, stopped Johnny going for the switchback, and
yep,
really good defensive driving. Gene.
Yeah, Twin Gene got the car placement perfectly. Now we do have a battle for the lead. Shane does have a good gap, but he does have a 3-second time penalty, which will hurt him at the end of the race. We have Twin Gene 1.5 seconds behind, and we have Real Johnny 0.5 seconds behind Twin Gene with DRS. Twin Gene, of course, not having the DRS, so I think we'll have a change of second place a good few times in this race.
Two lads could work together here to pull themselves back into Shane's DRS. They have to be careful, because Shane could get that 3-second gap otherwise that he needs to win.
Yeah, I think Twin Gene is definitely going very quick. Real Johnny with that DRS just isn't able to quite get close enough to him for a move.
I've just been on board with Shane. He must have a really quick setup. He's been berating, the last 2 laps, and he's still a second and a half ahead of Twin Gene. So he's got a really quick car in a straight line.
Yeah, it seems like it. Twin Gene did get the fastest lap just there. Seems to be close enough just that little bit. Must be a little mistake maybe by Shane. Just in the last couple of corners, he's been gaining a few tenths. But Real Johnny just about hanging on to the DRS of Twin Gene. Will he get it down the straight? I wonder. It looks like he might get the DRS. He's outside that second range. No, I think that's DRS detection line. I think
he just got inside it. Wow.
Oh, very lucky by Johnny.
That was by thousands. That was literally by thousands.
Oh no, he doesn't have the DRS on.
Johnny does.
He does?
Does on my screen.
Okay. Not on mine. Technical difficulties, of course. But yeah, very, very lucky by Real Johnny, just about getting that DRS. That's helped him a lot, kept him in that 1 second range. And we do have a little scrap here between Blue Gunner and O'Connor. Blue Gunner and O'Connor going side by side in a place on the track where you don't go side by side. Little bit of contact between the two. Blue Gunner and O'Connor not giving each other an inch. O'Connor just about stays ahead of him, but it was that tactical by Blue Gunner to get the DRS. The McLaren gets a good bit of a gap. Did the McLaren also get the DRS? No, Blue Gunner did. O'Connor seems to be derating. Did Blue Gunner get a good enough of an exit of that corner? No, it doesn't seem like it. But he's trying, having a little look at a move there is Blue Gunner. As we have Shane getting himself the fastest lap at a 2 second gap between himself and Twin Gene. But once again,
here comes Blue Gunner again.
Yeah. Can he go for a dive through turn 1? And he's going for it very late on the brakes. A little switchback by the McLaren there. As they're still side by side. Blue Gunner slightly behind. And O'Connor gets a lovely switchback. And he keeps that 6th position.
Yeah, Blue's very slow in a straight line. He must have gone for a high downforce setup because he was topping out there even with the DRS and the ERS on.
Yeah.
At about 310.
And that's a big mistake by Twin Gene. He went very slow off the exit just before this DRS straight, and that's allowed Johnny to catch up to him. Johnny, they're going side by side through this left-hander. Over the curbs goes Twin Gene. That has not helped him, and Johnny is back up in the 2nd place. But look at the gap between Johnny and Shane. The wind could still be on for Shane. He's looking very quick.
Has that gap he needs now, so.
And once again, same place, Blue Gunner and O'Connor. O'Connor seems to be more ahead. Yeah, he keeps the position. Blue Gunner not giving up yet, though. He wants that 6th position. Twin Gene once again very close to Johnny. Didn't get a great exit out of the hairpin, though. Just onto the DRS straight. Johnny seems to gap them just at that little bit. Yeah, very, very quick by Shane there. Gary, we were looking on with Shane was just quality laps, it seems, he's putting out.
Yeah, 100%. He's got no ERS either, and he's still able to put in those kind of times and keep that gap. That's crazy pace.
Yeah, and I think too little sandbagging for Shane there. He could see himself in Tier 2 now next week.
Yeah, here we go again.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Shane his pace has been immaculate there just the last few laps. He's managed to bridge a gap of 4.5 seconds. I know the 2 lads behind him are fighting, but his pace is still very, very good.
Yeah, well, he's the only man, Shane, in the 30s at the moment. Closest to him, interestingly enough, is King Papa, done a 31.3 last lap around. So he's showing good pace towards the end of this race. Everyone else is in 32s and lower, so he's in a world of his own, Shane, at the moment. No sign of anyone catching him.
Yeah.
The fans is worth a mention here as well. He's up 13 positions and he's holding his own there in P5. He's had a really good race.
Yeah, that's for sure. The fans just sneaking in there into P5 from very low on the grid, last on the grid actually. But yeah, the fans just having a very clean race, kept the nose clean for the most part, and he's gonna seek the rewards. Here we have now once again Twin Gene very close to the back of Real Johnny. Johnny just about staying ahead of Twin Gene. I'm surprised Roswald wasn't able to catch up to the lads ahead of him fighting. But he's having a little race of his own along with the Fawns in P4 and 5. 2 Haas boys, very nice positions. I'm sure Gunter will still be very happy with that.
Yes, little final lap of the race. And
it is indeed. Shane
just has to keep things tidy here, and he's won it.
Here's the all-important 2nd place. Twin Gene and Real Johnny. Real Johnny is derating. Twin Gene will see that. Twin Gene isn't going to use any of his ERS yet, though. He's going to wait till the last straight to try and get a move done on Johnny. He's playing the mind games. We do have a yellow flag. That's a red bull. K Flemmo once again, I believe. So Real Johnny has used all of his ERS very early. And Twin Gene has played it very smart. 37% ERS for Twin Gene, 40% now. And Johnny's got himself a time penalty.
So that solves that.
Could that see him off the podium now? We'll see now. Here we have Twin Gene on the back of Real Johnny for the position on track. Twin Gene on the ERS, on the DRS, gets a move done on the straight before the corner. And the gap now between Roswald and a podium is 2.9. He needs to stay in within that 3 seconds. And Shane has taken the victory as we're watching on to Real Johnny and Roswald. Roswald going across the line, and Roswald takes third place.
Wow.
Very impressive by Roswald. And of course, we haven't forgot to mention there at the start, or just as Shane crossing the line, immaculate pace by him all weekend, or all night. And he has taken a well-deserved win, even with a 3-second time penalty. So that's very well done by Shane. But look at that gap now between Johnny and Roswald. That was the gap between Johnny and a podium. I'm sure he's disappointed there at the last lap, last sector. He has missed out on a podium there. Very unfortunate for Johnny. But Roswald driven a great race, all race, and that podium I think is well deserved.
Yeah, he's consistent. Didn't really get involved in too much, but kept his nose clean and done a good job, and was there to capitalise on Johnny's mistake in sector 3 of the last lap.
Yeah, he was. Jeff, that was definitely an exciting race to say the least. It is a tight track, but definitely the lads didn't let up. A lot of safety cars. There weren't a lot towards the second half of the race, but the first half there was definitely the lads finding their feet, and we definitely saw a lot of carnage, especially off the start. But Shane, after a great race, managed to take the win. Why don't you go down the grid for us there, Kev?
No problem at all. So Shane, absolutely winning in the Mercedes. Twin Gene in P2 in the Ferrari. We have Roswald just edging out Johnny for the last podium place in P3. Real Johnny in P4, following up from his P5 in Spain. The Fonz from 18th on the grid gets up to P5. O'Connor in the McLaren in P6. Blue Gunner in P7. We have Kachiga, who spoke to us earlier, in P8. Rando in P9, and then King Papa recovers to take the final point in P10. K Flemmo, the last of our finishers, we lost a lot of cars, in P11. DNFs for Adam Whelan, Glenn Mack, Sanko, Rian, Jinx, D Flynn and DKF1. We lost them all early on.
You did indeed, yeah. And I think before we get the lads in, I am actually going to be able to leave the lobby this time. We'll go to Gary. What do you think of that race? What's your opinions on it?
Yeah, that was interesting. That was a really good watch. Probably, admittedly, the first time I've paid attention to a League of Ireland race on F1 2022 so far. But yeah, that was great. I'm interested to know what kind of setup Shane was running. He just had crazy pace with a car that just shouldn't have had it. Yeah, pity about Johnny's 3-second penalty at the end.
Yeah, for sure.
I would have held out for a podium for Johnny, but yeah, great race. Really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, it was a great race for sure. And I think we'll get the lads in now. Hopefully they'll join on their own accord.
Yep, I'll throw them a message just in case.
Yeah, so we have Roswald, Shane, and Twin Gene. So there's Shane now, and we'll wait for the others to come in. I think they'll join very soon. There's our third place, by the skin of his teeth.
0.068. Insane. I actually didn't realise until the last straight. I looked up and seen the 3 seconds and went, ah!
I think on the topic of that, we'll start with yourself, Roswell. Very good race from you, even if you did get the P4 in the end. But you did get the podium by once again the skin of your teeth. What was your thoughts going through the race? Were you happy with a P4 if you ended up with that?
I would have been happy because on my last quali lap, I was up about a tenth and a half, and I had like the end bit was good, but I was blocked in the middle of it, so it sort of squashed it, and I was like, so starting off on the wrong foot, and then another rainy race kind of it wasn't on. I just wanted a nice dry race, nice sunny Miami, but it was a roller coaster of emotions, and just tried to keep a level head throughout it.
Yeah, but yeah, having that podium very very last second, what was going through your head while you saw those 3 seconds? I'm sure the mind was going crazy then.
Complete mayhem, because I was thinking to myself, as if you mess this last turn up, it's all your fault. It's all your fault.
The pressure's on.
So I was like, this is probably, I have to nail this, and I was just fighting the traction coming out of the hairpin high, and I was like, get in the power, get right now, go. And I was like, just take that full curb, just take it off, just take the whole thing off, and then whenever I seen the podium, I was like, yeah, let's go. But great result. I'll take the P4 on track for podium overall result.
Yeah, that's great. And now for next week, I'm actually not sure what the track is next week. Do you know yourself?
Australia, I think.
Australia.
Australia or Abu Dhabi.
It's Australia, right?
Yeah, Australia. My bad. How confident are you with Australia? Do you think it's with the new updates to it? Do you think it's a better track? Do you think it's a worse track? How do you feel?
I think it's a better track. It's not It's not a track I like a lot, especially in the last game, because the curves were just monsters. Yeah, especially going through that really high speed chicane, like just trying to feel the confidence of that, like over 20 times through the whole races, just can be overwhelming at times. But I think the new layout and the small changes that they made is better for the actual race.
Yeah.
As well. So not one of my strongest tracks, but just have to put the practice on and get a wee bit of confidence over the weekend. Looking forward to it.
That's it. Very good. Thank you very much, Roswell. Well done today in the podium.
Yeah, well done, Roswell. Super stuff. And we move on to Twin Jean. Jean, are you with us?
How are you?
How was that for you? You had, quite a monster session. We'll start, obviously, at the start. Talk us through your quali. I think of the podium sitters, you actually qualified the highest. You started P3, I think possibly even higher after Johnny's grid penalty. But how was that for you?
It was grand, honestly. The first lap was alright. Mm-hmm. I was putting a bit more fuel into the car the first lap just to kind of get the nerves out, the first lap. Yeah. And then second lap I went P1 and I was like, okay then, alright. And then I completely went minimum fuel on the third lap and just made a couple of mistakes and just couldn't improve on it. So, but P3 still, and then I was alright with it, to be honest. I was like, it's better than nothing,
Yeah, and from the sounds of it, you probably felt you had another few tenths in there anyways if you didn't nail your final run on low fuel. And
yeah,
could have probably been a bit higher.
I could have definitely gotten a P1. I could have definitely gotten P1 in the race as well today, but sure.
Oh, well, look, P3 isn't a bad second prize on the grid. And then talk us through your race. We obviously seen, turn one was, we'll call it carnage, chaos, or whatever we want to call it.
Snapping, literally. I was like, are you serious? Like, you can't even make... I was going mad, But it is what it is. It happens,
Yeah,
people have
absolutely.
good starts, and then just fucking turn one's always chaos, no matter where you are. It could be the widest turn, it could be NASCAR, and it's still chaos, But
yeah, particularly on this game where the tire temps obviously are very difficult to get up and running quickly.
Yeah, exactly.
And the race then from there, I mean, we obviously went from dry to wet and then back to dry. Talk us through that. How did you get on? You obviously had rapid pace for good portions of the race, and then we seen you battling with Johnny late on for obviously what was going to be P2 on track, but obviously it didn't matter in the end with his penalty.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know he had that penalty until like when I crossed the line and I looked over and I was like, oh shit, he has a penalty. Where did that come from? But yeah, the start was alright. I got back a couple positions, but I got wing damage from T1. So
Right.
when we switched to wets, I kind of came out behind a bunch of lads that I was in front because of the wing replacement. So I was kind of like, this is a bit awkward now because I don't really have great wet pace in this game compared to the last one. So I was like, it's a bit. I'll just try and hang on until. I was like, just basically saying to myself, just hang on, wait for the mistakes, and just capitalize on them. And then the engineer came over and he was like, "Oh yeah, this rain isn't going to be lasting forever. It's going to be dry soon." And I was like, "Oh, are you sure? Okay, I'll take that, buddy." But yeah, as soon as I went back to dry, I felt comfortable again, and it was just kind of managing. I tried to manage the thing to Shane, but he was quick. He was quick, but as soon as Shane started skirting off down the road, I was like, you know, I'm just gonna try and play Johnny a bit here and just stick behind him and let him use his ERS while I just sit back and enjoy life, you know.
Yeah, and we seen you tuck in behind him on the last lap where you probably could have had a go at him in Sector 2. Was your plan always to have a go at him down the very last straight, the very last lap?
Yeah, exactly. I was trying to both like just stay with him, but make him, but not be like too far behind where he's just saving ERS as well, where he can just use it down the last straight. But yeah, like, I was just waiting literally to the last moment to take that position from him.
Very good. And then last couple of questions from me. One is, season obviously is 2 rounds under now, so good result for you today. What do you see yourself doing for the rest of the season, and how do you think you're fixed in for Australia in particular next week?
Australia is a bit of an iffy one for me, but you never know. I thought Kota would have been a bad one for me, but I did practice on it and it was a decent track for me, so you never know. Like, especially with the races as well, anything can happen.
Exactly.
But yeah, the first race was a bit definitely not a good showing for myself. I thought I was going to be dropped down to T4, but the P2 today definitely has brought back confidence, and I feel like it's going to be a decent L season there.
Good stuff. Well, thanks very much, and obviously best of luck. Hopefully we'll be talking to you at some point next week. If not on the grid, we'll be talking to you, please God, afterwards. Well done, Twin Gene.
Definitely. See you, buddy.
Right, well done, Twin Gene. Great race. P2 from him. And now on to our race winner. How are we feeling today, Shane? How do we feel after that one? You had some pace.
At the start, it was not going my way. Turn 1 was a shambles. Broke my front wing. Had to pit, came out last. But thankfully for the safety car, it wasn't too bad. I went on the softs. They went a bit, you know, but they died off pretty quick, and I could see the pace starting to fall off from the runners in front. But another safety car, I believe, came out, and I caught right back up, which was very helpful for me.
Yeah. Obviously, yeah, you had great pace throughout that race. The last few laps, you managed to bridge what looked to be 4.5 seconds to the lads behind. Were you just putting in qualifying laps, trying to bridge a gap to save you from the 3-second penalty?
The aim was qualifying laps, but 1 or 2 of them were a bit stinky, so I had to hope on the 2 lads to battle it out, which they did very well, thankfully. But yeah, just the consistency is what you needed, especially in those type of situations. I got 1 or 2 more warnings, and then on the final lap, then I just knew I had to take it slow. Because if I had gotten that penalty, it would have been lights out.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, going back to that turn 1 incident, we were watching on. It wasn't the prettiest thing to look at. Cars going straight on, cars going into each other. What were your thoughts then? Were you thinking of giving up, or did you think you still had a chance at the race?
When I hit an Alfa Tauri, locked the brakes and went straight on. Clipped the side of him, I believe. But from then on, I had no hope until I saw the safety car come out, and then that's when the hope started coming back.
Yeah. But yeah, ended up with the win. Are you confident again next week? Don't know if you'll even be in this tier after the pace today, but if you are, Australia next week, do you think you'll still have the same pace then?
Australia, unfortunately, is one of my better tracks. So after today's race,
don't say that.
I don't think it'll be a good example. But yeah, I'm feeling confident for Australia.
Yeah.
Shane, one question for myself.
Go ahead, great.
What's your plans for tier 2? You know, you're probably going to move up there pretty quickly, given that kind of pace. You know, if that's not your great track and Australia is, what do you think?
I'm hoping just score points if the move happens to tier 2.
Yeah.
I don't see many podiums coming my way.
Wouldn't say that. Those last couple of laps you put in there were magic.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, yeah, I think that's that for today. Thanks to our winner Shane. Some great pace, maybe tier 2 pace. Wink, wink. But yeah, that's all from us today. Thank you very much for tuning in, and do tune in again tomorrow for tier 4, same time. And then me and Cav will be back next week on Sunday in Australia, and maybe we might see a few of the lads who are on the podium today next Sunday. So once again, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you again very soon.